So, this is Oddsparks, an automation adventure, and this is a game that's developed by a massive mini-team and published by Handy Games that released on Steam on April the 24th, 2024 in early access. And before we jump into the features, I have to give a massive thank you to Keymailer, the devs and the publishers for giving me access to the game. And now let's get into the game's description and features just before we talk about what makes indie games like this better than AAA games. So, Oddsparks is an automation game about exploring a strange fantasy world, uncovering the mysteries of the past, automating your workshops, and going on adventures with your odd and adorable sparks. The game is built for single player and online co-op, and if you love to build and untangle little messes, they have something for you that they think you'll find satisfying. And trust me, this game is very, very satisfying. You get the joy of making your own little machine and seeing exactly how it works. In Oddsparks, you will be designing automated workshops and putting your sparks to work, both carrying and crafting everything that you need, including more sparks. They've made the game to be a great entry point into automation games, but with a fresh spin for those who have already played thousands of hours in the genre. Without conveyor belts, you're going to have to manage the spark traffic to optimize your designs, and they have filled your toolbox with options so that you can solve the logistics puzzles that you'll face as you tackle both distance and elevation. They then say to take your sparks for an adventure into procedurally generated worlds, face unusual enemies like spunnies and belephants, as you explore diverse and distinct biomes, find mundane and magical resources amidst forgotten ruins, clear up the way to build and connect your workshops. Will you unearth the traces of the ancient past and find out who originally created the sparks? Bring your newfound knowledge and all the stuff you've made back home to your village. Help your village grow, share with and learn from the folks you've grown up with. With this new technology and the secrets of the past, what changes will you spark in the world around you? As stated earlier, you can play the game in single player or online co-op. They officially support up to 4 players, although it's not a hard limit, and you can easily jump in and out of any friend's save at any given time. Narrative and gameplay progression is kept in the save file and is shared for everyone playing. You can play together and separately on the same game save. Explore the wide world, experience the rich narrative, and untangle your wild creations without any cutscene interruptions. So that's what they've said about the game. That's the description for it. So now jumping into the features, and the main standout features for this are being able to play single player or co-op with official 4-player support, but there's no actual hard cap on the amount of players, which I see as a really good thing. You can have like 20 players on one server, but it can be risky due to server overload, and the network is going to more than likely face some problems, as I've experienced an issue just being in a 2-player server, which we'll go through later in the video. The game is designed to play on both keyboard and mouse and controller, with the ability to rebind the keys or buttons to however you feel comfortable. And while that's great, I feel that shouldn't necessarily be something that's a key feature, because I personally feel it should be mandatory in games in this day and age. You see lots of games coming out that don't have the ability to rebind your keys, and it just drops accessibility for a lot of players. But other features in this game are being able to customize your character, which is cool, but if you're like me, you just randomize everything until something pops up on your character that's your favorite color. That's all I did with my character in this game. I saw a bit of purple, I jumped into the game with that character. But in Oddsparks, you get to build an expansive automation and logistics network that deals with both distance and elevation, like they said in the description. And it's done in a really, really cool way through the use of sparks, which are essentially slaves. And they are used instead of running the typical conveyor belts to transport your materials to and from. So, for an example, going from an output machine into storage. You have a village in this game with characters that give you quests to make progress with your automation adventures, and there's also an ancient waypoint which lets you fast travel back to the village from anywhere in the game. Something that I absolutely love because I'm a lazy gamer, but something I feel some players are not really going to like the idea of. As mentioned, the game is in early access. It's going to cost you £17, and it's got an estimated time of around a year in early access, but they have a roadmap for it, and that roadmap features things like train transportation, a logic system, shops, decorations, biome variations, and quality of life improvements, all scheduled for an August 2024 release, with future updates yet to be announced, but with mod support being planned for a spring 2025 release. They estimate there is around 20 hours worth of gameplay in the early access version of the game, which is a very good amount of gameplay for the price they're charging. But what exactly is it about this game that stands out and what makes it better than AAA in my opinion? So Oddsparks is a fantastic automation game. It steers off the path of your typical automation game by having the sparks as your automation rather than conveyor belts. They're not just your automation either, they can be your friends and follow you around as you're playing. You start the game off with something called a Stumpy Spark. They don't have anything special about them whatsoever, but you do eventually move on to things like Crafty Sparks, which are going to produce things faster. You'll get Carry Sparks, which can transport 2 items at a time instead of 1. And you even get Loamy Sparks that will turn into bushes that you can harvest for materials. And all of that is just until you make it to the second biome where you can make better sparks out of stone instead of wood. The villagers in this game have a bunch of different quests, but you also have a main ancient waypoint that we've mentioned. And this will give you like miniature sort of quests to gather certain resources that you can use to basically upgrade the waypoint. You can unlock new waypoints for fast traveling, as well as doing other things like increasing your active spark slots, giving you the ability to go from 10 sparks following you around, stopping you needing to do all of that manual labor, all the way up to 30 sparks. So there's a lot of progression in the game in different areas of the game, as well as having the ability to expand your inventory to carry more items. When it comes to wood, which is like your basic resource in this game, and eventually other wood-based resources like bark and leaves, you don't actually need to go out exploring everywhere to find bits, as the game's got trees, like they're called giant trees in the game. And what you do with these is you attach logging huts to them, and your sparks are going to chop the tree to gather resources, and the resources on these giant trees are infinite. So you can set yourself up a main base, set it all up around the giant tree, make other bases for other resources, and then stone and stone-based resources will eventually become infinite when you get to the second biome. And there is no hostility in the game in terms of your bases or sparks being attacked, but there are enemies that you can attack for special resources, and you can't just go and take your basic Stumpy Sparks with you to attack the enemies. You're going to have to craft better sparks in order to stand any chance at all against the stronger enemies in the game. So this is a chill automation game. They're like very, very relaxing. That can be played solo or in co-op. The art style is really cool, and I love having the sparks working for you instead of the automation process being done through the use of conveyor belts. It's nice to just see little things change within the genre. I can't wait to see the future of this game, having put a lot of hours into the game already. I think I'm about 12 hours in. It's a nice entry game into the automation genre that gives you no pressure to make progress at all. You can do it all in your own time. And the absolute best feature about this game, the one that really stands out to me, is the game save. The save function in this game is separate for each player. So, like for an example, for me and Pete, I've been hosting the game for us both to play, but me and Pete are both able to save the game separately so that if I go offline and Pete wants to carry on from where we left off, he can then just load our progression from his own save file created in my hosted world. But I will say, make sure all players separately save the game before the host goes offline, because if the host goes offline, you don't have that save, you're going to have to wait until they're online again. But yes, you can jump into your friend's world and you can save the progress that you and your friends make to play on your own if you wish. And with all of that said, the game isn't perfect. It's an automation game and it's in early access. The game is going to see more content added over time. There was a networking bug, or at least an issue that I faced, where I put too many sparks on a path at one time and it disconnected the entire game network, which forced me to restart the game to be able to play online again. But not only that, the grind is definitely there. There's quests that eventually require like stupid amounts of resources. You can have some that require hundreds of sparks. Some need multiple extra delivery chests, which you won't unlock until later. But some require multiple chests to be placed down because they need like 600 fertilizer, 600 limestone, and that can't just be put in the single chest that you start off with the villagers. The grind is definitely going to put some players off because it does get very tedious. Like for an example, there's a part where you have to make 200 path tiles for only part of a quest, and that takes quite a long time. But as well as that, you might get one where you have to go making 180 sparks. They need other sparks to make them sparks. So it can get incredibly tedious. But if you are enjoying the game in general, then the grind is not actually that bad. And I've had plenty of times with the game where I think, I'll just do this quick, then I'll go grab a drink. And I've sat there for like another half an hour to an hour because I started doing another quest. You can lose track of time with this game easily. And with the art style being cool, the game being chill, providing hours of entertainment, giving you very, very good value for for your money. This is why indie games are better than AAA games. A game like this is going to respect your time, it's a fun experience, and it's not going to break the bank either. But on top of that, they bring fresh features to the genre, even if they are minor things like replacing conveyor belts with sparks. And not only that, they don't try going over the top to reinvent the way the games in the genre are played. So that is a look at Oddsparks, an automation adventure, a game that I absolutely love. And what we are going to do is leave that video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about Oddsparks in the comments. I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.